أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The Khoja Shia Ithnashri community has evolved over many years. From the days of practicing our faith behind closed doors in the streets of India to now proclaiming the love for Ahlul Bayt and progressing openly in every corner of the world. As a community of about 150,000, we must be proud of how we have gotten here. However, celebrations and tribulations are those that have made us who we are, a united, progressing community. It started with the good old days in Zanzibar, to the dark days of the revolution, the prospering businesses of Kampala, to the exodus in the 70s. And then came this country in the East Coast with an area of about 246,000 square miles and a population of 8 million then, 1,600 Asians, with Khojas settling as early as 1881. Our community was flourishing. The country was ruled by President Muhammad for about 21 years. However, civil unrest, rebellion, and collapse of law and order overtook Somalia, with atrocities and killings happening on a daily basis. Large international organizations closing down the community had to take an urgent action. Our esteemed guest, who is no stranger to this community, will tell us what happens next. I have the great honor and pleasure in introducing this fearless, courageous, and dedicated servant of this community. Al-Haj Sajjad Rashid, born in Mombasa, Kenya, has been heavily involved in the community since the 80s. Served as chairman of the Mombasa Jamaat, trustee of Mombasa Jamaat, councillor of Africa Federation and World Federation, and now also serves as a trustee of Africa Federation. He was instrumental in two key evacuations, including Somalia and then Yemen, in as recent as 2015. He is a well-established and successful businessman who has given his heart and time for the community. This interview will take place primarily in English, but we will also have bits and pieces of Gujarati and Kutchi as well. So with that, over to you, Sajjad Uncle. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Thank you very much for joining us today and having this interview. However, I will leave the stage to you now. Take us through the good old days and then take us through what happened after as a background of what happened in Somalia.
It all started, I was attending a marriage at Masubai Megji's house. I got a call from airport, from Captain Esposito, who was the honorary consul of Italy. He told me 12 to 13 women of your community have just arrived on the Red Cross flight. So Manzoor Bhai Kanani, the vice president of Africa Federation, was there. I told him, let's go to airport. He was not feeling well. So I rushed to the airport, and I found 13 of our women there. Immediately, I decided that I'll accommodate that at my two houses. I put 7 of them in one house, the other 6 in another house. Then as the flights were coming, no more Ishnashis came. Captain Esposito was in charge of this flight. So at one stage, he allocated to us 40 to 50 seats for our people to come in. When we went to airport, none of them had come. My cousin Ashraf Bhai Rashid, Jafar Rashid, was with me. His remark was that the rich have already arranged. There's nobody for the poor. On the spur of moment, I said, we will go and rescue them. It was just, I spoke. On the way to home, I said, okay, Ashraf, I'm arranging. We go by ship to rescue them. So when I reached home, I called the philanthropists from our community. I was one of the donors. Then I called Naushad Bhai Merali, Maroom Naushad Bhai Merali. He committed, and the Maroom Roshan Rajbali Merali, known as Muhammad Chuzi, Roshan Chuzi. He supported, and Ramzan Bhai Nanji supported. I needed $300,000 to charter the vessel. So I got the $300,000. Captain Esposito was also agent for this vessel, ME ambassador. So I went to see him next day. I told him I want to charter the ship for rescue from Somalia. He told me, Somalia? I said, yes. So what are you? I said, I'm making the arrangement. So he told me, okay. I need 300,000 over front. I said, I have the money. Then the problem was, we needed permission from Kenya because a lot of people were coming in dhows and everything. But they were being stranded at the port of Mombasa for days. So I, through my contacts, contacted President of Kenya, His Excellency Daniel Arap Moi. He asked her for a guarantee that if you bring them here, they leave the country. I said, I'm guaranteeing it. So he gave us permission to go ahead and bring them. Fortunately, he was in Mombasa the day we were supposed to leave. He came on the vessel to bid us good luck and left. Now the question comes of getting volunteers. I was able, you see, the unfortunate thing, and I'm sorry to say that, is that there was one person from Somalia who was there and I contacted him. His reply was, we are stupid. How can you go in death's mouth and risk your life? I said, that is destiny. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Anyhow, he turned down the offer to come. One of the ladies at my house, because I wanted volunteers, she also turned it down. Fortunately for me, there were people I knew very well. The Kaku family, Salim and his brother, I forgot the other brother's name, 30 years now, they volunteered. Ashraf Rashid was the one person who volunteered. Mohsin Okera, he volunteered. Then there was a Nanish Nashri, and now he's in London, very well settled. I forgot his name. And then I remember the day we were leaving Gazamfar. Just came to drop somebody. I said, Gaz, let's go. He said, where? I said, Somalia. He said, okay. He went home, broke his passport and came. You know, the day before leaving, the mother of the Kaku brothers too came to see me. And she told me, what do you think will happen? I said, I don't know. We might return, we might not return. We have to go. I thought she would refuse. She said, no, I'm coming tomorrow. She came and she was the one who carried Quran on her head. Okay. I needed a doctor. There was, I think it's a Punjabi, working in Aga Khan Hospital, Dr. Alvi. I called him and said, Alvi, I need your assistant. I just knew him casually. He said, well, I'm going to Somalia. I need a doctor on board. He said, okay, I'm coming. I said, okay. Then I got ladies. One is Glam Kaku's mother. There's Fatma Nasser, who is ex-Dar es Salaam, but in Mombasa. She was married in Dubai. Then Maroom Yusuf, Karmali's wife. My wife, Tyra. And you know, with Tyra I had a problem. I had a daughter 2 years old. I told Tyra, look, don't come. I don't know whether I'm coming back or not. My father is buried there. Maybe I'm going to be buried there. Please don't come. She insisted. She wanted to come. I said, what about Zara? She's only 2 years old. She said, I'll leave them with the woman from Mogadishu. So she also came with me. And in the men, there were Murtaza Kaku, Salim Kaku, Ashraf, Gazamfar. I think this the guy who is Baba now is Ali Qasem, and myself. We were all 14 people. And Okera, Mohsin Okera. You know Hassan Bhai Jafar very well. The day we were leaving, he came on the ship. And I was jovial, laughing, arranging everything. So he told me, I want to talk to you. The captain had given me his room, so we went to the captain. He said, do you know what we are doing? I said, yes, I know. Do you know the risk? I said, I know the risk. So how are you like this? I said, what do you want me to do? If I go down, what will happen to the volunteers? This is a mission we have undertaken and God will help us. And then Master Megji came to my office before I was leaving. He told me, Sajjad, don't go. Donate money. I told him, Master, listen. People say he wants to give money and risk our life. There is no way I can't go. And I was afraid of my mother. My mother was in Karachi at that time. So somebody went and told my mother. He said, okay, let him proceed. Anyhow, the day we were leaving, I remember when we were passing Lighthouse, All the volunteers were on board, facing, and everybody had tears in their eyes. Nobody knew whether we were going to come back or not come back. Anyhow, one day after sea, I called a meeting. And everybody started telling me, the waters are shark. There is no way we can go up to the shore. We can't do this, we can't. I told them, you're telling me now, when I'm already at sea. Anyhow, let's proceed. When we arrived at Mogadishu, it was difficult, it was war going on. So we had to keep far away. We were keeping away about 8 to 10 kilometers outside Mogadishu. And at night we had to darken our windows and everything. The first day, I think, we launched the boat, second day. And, there was Abdul Kanji also. So Abdul Kanji, Salim, Murtaza, Kaku, and Ashraf. They boarded the boat to go shore. Halfway the boat broke down. So they came back again. Now it was difficult, people didn't want to go. So I volunteered, I'll go also. The captain said, you can't go. Because you are supposed to be here and monitor. Who will take over? So then Abdul Kanji said, I'm going. So they left again. They went. I had radio, they had radio. At night, I heard gunshots. I got very worried. I said, what has happened to my people? Anyhow, we were there for about 8 to 9, 10 days, I think, outside. I think on the 10th day, I'm cutting it short, we are running out of fuel. I had fuel for 2 days. So either I rescue them or go away without taking them. God has his own ways. That day, they came on radio, first time. And we were able to go. Apparently, when the Italians left, you see how different Italians who left then. Okay. So they had given them radio. And these people communicated with us. So I told them, look, I don't have fuel. You must leave tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock. Captain Esposito gave me a frequency. I never knew what frequency it was. He told me this will be useful to you. He never told me what it was. When I called, it was a rebel frequency. I was able to talk to them. I called them on the ship. I had money. I gave them money. And they like Mira. So I carried Mira. I gave them Mira. I had medicines. I gave them a ration. I gave them. I said, they were fighting outside the mosque. Now, how would our people go? They told me, we will stop fighting up to 11 o'clock. After they will start again. So these people said, we will leave at 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, now we are communicating. The next thing they told me, we are living in batches. I said, no way. All of you move. After 11 o'clock, nobody will be able to leave, because the fighting will resume. Anyhow, they moved. Then we had a problem from the Somali side. My brother Ashik was listening from Nairobi. And we were in radio contact every day. In the evening with Hassan Bhai and Ashik. I told Ashik, we have a problem. You need to talk to the Pakistan ambassador. This guy of the government is not letting us come out. And tomorrow the rebels have agreed. He went to the ambassador. Somehow he was able to talk to Pakistan. And that night, Pakistan announced on radio, Pakistan. He said, our ship is outside. They have come to rescue our people. If our people are not given safe passage, we reserve the right to attack and come and rescue our people. That helped us. Captain Morgan was the other side guy. Anyhow, people were able to leave. They reached in the port by, I don't know. The first boat I saw was 9 o'clock instead of 6 o'clock. And they had a tugboat. They came in the tugboat. We thought the operation would take 3 days, but we didn't have time. We were running out of fuel. Unfortunately, both the boats with the machine, one was stranded, okay, one spoiled. Now, we had only boats without machine. So I thought of an idea. I said, when the tugboat comes, we send 2 boats, okay, with my 2 volunteers. So they'll fool the tugboat, fool the 2 boats, and bring them across. It went on well. So what happened? They would come and the rope would be handed over to the ship crew. So the tug will discharge, our boats will discharge, and they'll go back again. While we were doing this operation, one of the sailors holding the rope left the rope. Somalia waters are bad. What do? Your people in it. Anyhow, we took the ship. Again we were, but there's one thing I want to point out here very clearly. This operation would not have been possible without God's mercy. I personally feel God gave me a chance to go there. But the whole thing, the way it happened, because according to captain, we needed 3 days. We started at 9 o'clock, 2.5 kilometers away, lifting these people. We started moving. The last people we took was, I think, 800 to 1,000 meters from the shore. And they were shooting at us. Okay. We finished the operation at 9 o'clock, night. Now the problem starts. The ship's capacity is 400 people. I have 1,257 people on board. Just imagine. We threw out all the water. The ship's position was such that if one person moved from one place to another, the whole rocked. You know, the saddest thing I saw in my life, and I was not able to eat food for 10 days after that. People, we kept on sending them food. They were surviving on 1 banana a day. Everything we sent would get finished. When they came on board, we kept on cooking for them. All night, all day. Anyhow, I lost my voice and I was tired because 10 days keeping awake, everything. So I remember when everybody was on board, I said, let me go around. I went round and I saw somebody coming down. I didn't know what he was coming down. He just slept down and started kissing my face. I said, what is the matter? I picked him up. He said, you know, I have 2 daughters. And these people had already started raping the Arabs. The next would have been us. The Hindus also were in our mosque with the snatches. So I rescued all Hindus also. When we had them on board, now the issue started. The insurance was cancelled. I have 1,257 people on board instead of 400 people. The ship is sailing, and the situation was such that even one person could not meet. I had to handcuff 2 people on the board because they were too notorious that they were playing around, the ship was sinking. So worst part of it was not going but coming back. Anyhow, it took us more than time required. I think we were 12 hours more to reach Mombasa.
Normally it would have taken how long?
24. We took 36 hours. When you arrived in Mombasa, fortunately there was a team in Mombasa who knew we are coming. So Mombasa had organized everything. They had taken accommodation. Our mosque, Imambara, was made empty. Now the question of clearing started. So I was told, you rest, we are clearing. They started. I was in my room. My wife came to me, Sajjad, they are putting 5 people an hour. I said, what? I went up. I told the immigration, look, I have permission, correct? Here are the passports, give them, let the people go. We were able to discharge people within 4 hours. Okay? Everybody came. There was somebody, Memon, I think. He was a goldsmith. I think he had carried gold with him. In the hurry, he forgot the gold in tugboat. There was one gentleman, Liaquat Ali Datu, from Mogadishu.
Currently lives in Dubai, I think.
Huh?
Currently lives in Dubai or something?
Yeah, Dubai. This gentleman, the tugboat guy, he told me, this is the key of my car. You finish the operation, the car is yours. And he also supported financially. There was somebody, Bikabai, from the Hindu community. He's now I met him last in Florida, I think. He's there settled. So these people are instrumental in moving the people out. You know, there's one thing I want to point out, although I would not like to speak about it, but I would totally blame this disaster on Africa Federation. There was a meeting in Nairobi. I think it was Habib Mulji was there, and I was there. Because I was close to Bawazir, I was told by the Somali people that once Siad Barre goes, it will become worse. So we had a meeting in Nairobi. At that time, the flights were operating. So I told Habib Bhai, Manzoor Zahat's meeting, that let me go with a flight. I have donors, okay? We'll keep on flying a flight a day till I've taken over Dubai. Habib Bhai said, no, Hussain Bhai Dala is in Mogadishu. His son or daughter is getting married and he's inviting everybody. Nothing. I said, Habib Bhai, no. You will come to regret this decision. And it's minuted. If you go through the archives, you'll find the minutes. But they ignored it. Anyhow, it was gold masjid. Everybody came. We were able to accommodate everybody. The moment they landed, they were given money. Cigarettes were provided. Food was provided. I took people, about 32 people, to my houses, both houses. Some of them my relatives, some of not my relatives. And then now the question comes, what do you do with the people? My office, one room, had become a Somalia room. Okay? Fida Dola in Orlando, Yakadatu, Bikabai. They would come every day in the morning. And every people would come, their passports, everything. Now, what do we do? So Africa Federation was working, World Federation was working, and the decision was what to do with the people. So some of them, I think, were moved to Dar es Salaam. Rajani came from Mombasa. He said, I'll take them to Dar es Salaam. Some of them went to Arusha. Some of them went to Pakistan. There were some families who were in Mombasa. And I'm very sorry to say, some of them are my relatives. So they were accommodated in Nairobi and Mombasa. I was an assistant minister at that time. So I could not get involved in how to move people. So I used Ashraf Rashid. It was very cheap at that time, I think $2,000 per person or something. So I financed the whole operation. We moved a lot of people to UK. Most of the people from UK, I sponsored them. There was a family from Karachi. I remember his pastor, Wazir Rashid. I brought him to Mombasa, and from there I sent him to London. Most of them are well settled now. I think even when Marhum Zulfikar was the president of Africa Federation, he was able to arrange passports for, permit for the people from Somalia. I understand they're well settled here. There are a few of them doing very good business in Mombasa, in spare parts. And Yakadatu moved to Dubai. Some of them moved to America on their own. I think they are all settled now. And
So, Syed Uncle, you said Hassan Jafar was also in communication. So what was his position at
Hassan Jafar was communicating, liaising between me, my brother, and the community. Because when I left, we had formed a committee in Mombasa.
Okay.
I was the chairman of Jamaat at that time,
Okay.
who would be receiving the people. So he was taking, because he was taking day to day. You know, it's very difficult to get a radio call. But because I think there was, at the radio center, either it was an Indian or a Pakistan, I don't know. Because he knew I'd come to rescue people, he would give me priority. And I would talk to Hassan Bhai every day on radio, telling what is my position, what's happening, what we are doing. Okay. When I came into a problem, I called my brother. I said, Ashik, go and sort out the Pakistan embassy. Ashik was doing the groundwork.
And he was in
Nairobi. Nairobi. So he was liaising everything in Nairobi. You know, when you approach the Pakistani people, I said, I want to go. They were reluctant. I said, look, I don't need anything from you. I'm taking a ship and I'm going there. I need your flag. They gave me the flag, and you know, they made me an honorary ambassador on board for the period on board. You see, when the Pakistani ambassador was in Mogadishu, and he was telling our people, it is a Pakistani ship, I will do it. When he came over, I said, hello, this is not a Pakistani ship. You are coming at my courtesy. I'm rescuing you. This is the Khoja ship. Okay. I rescued the Pakistani ship. And then, when I came back, there were people who were of the impression that if Siad Barre goes, we'll be okay. So there were about 130 people of ours left. Then the panic started after I came. Messages after messages after messages. Rescue us. So what do? There was this Somali plane. I talked to him about the charter. GD helped me at that time. He gave me the money to charter the plane. I don't know, full money or part money. He helped me. So I chartered two. I chartered a small one because the people are scattered. Some in Hargeisa, some I don't know where. So I sent a team before to go and bring all of them to Mogadishu. So this was a small aircraft, it went. They went there. There was one guy of ours, they wanted to kill him there. He came in a burqa on the plane, in the small plane, and he was brought out. I went by plane, it was a Sunday, I remember. I arrived in Mogadishu. Fortunately, I had taken medication and things, so I went to see the Prime Minister then, gave him everything. And our people had already gathered in Mogadishu. I went to see the mosque, everything. In town, then I came back. We started boarding the people. Now, our people, the plane was enough. But then there were some Italians, some Americans, other people. So I boarded them. Now the captain comes and tells me, hello, you can't take all of them. I said, Captain, your wish. Anybody you live here is going to die. If you're willing to take that risk on your soul, then offload whoever you want to do. My people, I won't offload. But anybody else you want to offload, you can go in. He said, what do? I said, we go. It's only 3 or 2 hours, 1 hour from here. What is the problem? He said, okay. We said people, in 2 people sit 3 people. Some of them down. Now, there was that thing which starts the plane. When you want to start the plane, it would not work. I told God, I went to my sea. I finished. Now let me finish these people. For 1.5 hours we tried. Now the Somalis was coming. Somalis are crazy about Mira. I'd carried Mira also this time, knowing that. So when they're coming with you, Mira, everybody was after the Mira. The plane sat and we took off. We came to Mombasa again, we had the same arrangement. I cleared them within 1 hour. They were inside. So we had rescued total community except 2 people who were half caste, and they were doing Magando business, and they didn't want to come. So those are the only people left. I rescued the entire Hindu family, our Khoja family. I had 4 or 5 Italians, 2 Americans. And the worst part of it is I was depending on 2 Italian naval ships who were there. Then the war started in Gulf. So they sent me a message that they were helping me to take out the boat which was stuck. They sent me a message telling me that we are going now because we have been called there. So the last 4 or 5 days I was alone with no support at all. I have a letter, I think, still here from one of the embassies which says that we are not able to do what, with all our facilities that cost, you people need it single-handedly. I have somewhere in the file, but it was not me. God just made me a master to go and bring them. He gave me the opportunity to serve the community.
Dear viewers, this was end of part 1 of an astonishing, fascinating, and at times heartbreaking stories of what has happened to our community and our people back then. Stay tuned for part 2. There's a lot more to come and there's a lot more to learn from this esteemed personality. So stay tuned. Dear viewers, welcome back for part 2 of this astonishing story of what happened to our community back in the 90s when they were to be evacuated from Somalia to Mombasa. With me is none other than the esteemed personality who played a pivotal role in this evacuation, none other than Alhaj Sajjad Bhai Rashid. Thank you for having us again, Sajjad Bhai, and welcome back. We'll pick up from where we left off. And I want to sort of ask when all this was happening at the time of the evacuation. Did any of our community members suffer in terms of, were there any killings that affected our community? Did any one of our...
One casualty, and unfortunately his wife was at my house. He got a spray bullet. He was on the window, he got a spray bullet and he died. Imagine I'm coming home and his wife is staying at my house. What do I tell her? Expecting her husband. I didn't have courage. I just told my wife, you go and talk to her. Young man, stray bullet.
So when he was shot, he was on the boat at that time?
No, he was not on the boat. He had died before I arrived.
And Salangal, so from the time you received the phone call to the time whereby the ship left from the port of Mombasa, can you take us through the events of how quickly...
It was, I think, the next day I went to see Captain Esposito. I think we left, not very clear, I think 2-3 days later. So I had to make all the arrangements in the meantime. I needed ration, I needed food, I needed medicine, I needed a doctor on board, okay, and volunteers. So I started working. I had a short list of volunteers. Some of them have joined at last moment, when we were going. Dr. Olivier, I talked to him. By the way, he's not Ishnashri. He volunteered to come. I told him, look, what medicines do you need to take? So he gave us a list of medicine. And I think Salim Balu, Makadarak farm chemist, he gave me all the medicine I required, without prescription, without anything. And then we took ration, because we can cook on board. This was a tourist ship, you should realize. So we could cook on board, so we took all the ration, we had everything. We took money, we took medicine. I carried a lot of money, dollars with me. That was, I think I was able to give $20,000 to the rebels, okay? And they wanted medicine, so I gave them medicine also. And I don't know, from the time I received call from Mogadishu people, they started the next day. Because I was running out of fuel, I told you. We had to move fast. Although the captain was staying 2-3 days, we took everybody on board by 9:30 at night. We started 2.5 kilometers up to, I think, 800 meters. And there was shooting going on.
And so when the volunteers were going from the boat to the mosque to try and evacuate...
Yeah, that was the story I forgot to tell you. I had 4 people who went ashore. They had not come till the time I started boarding the people. Now what is the story? I told the captain, you take the ship near the shore and I'll get down. The only reason I was going to get down is, I knew if I was there, then my government will try to do everything. Because I was holding a senior minister post and I was very close to the president. So I said, I'll go down there. You won't believe it. It was, I think, 3 or 4 o'clock, we were still boarding. And we find a boat coming. That time pirates were coming, so the captain comes out with a pistol. And what do we find? These people, all of them had come back. So that problem was sorted out. But one of the boats was stranded, which the ship wanted me to pay. Finally, we were able to settle it. So that was the worst part of it, because our people were stranded. They went there. I remember these people told us, oh, the Mogadishu people, oh, this. I said, listen, I have 4 people ashore who came to meet you. I don't know whether they're alive or they're dead. And if you don't come today, I have to leave. I don't have fuel. The captain will not stay here. We are running out of fuel. We had been 10 days out. This was, I think, the 10th or 11th day.
And what was going through your mind from the time you left Mombasa until the time you came back? Did you have, yes, and Alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed you and gave you the courage to do this, but can you tell us what was exactly going through your mind?
You know what made me go? That our girls would be getting raped. They had already started raping the Arabs and outside. We were in the mosque. There was no food. To me, at that time, I told my friend, I said, look, if I die, what is it? At least I've done my duty. I have to do it. There's no other way. The same thing happened in Yemen on the second trip. My present chairman. Because when I came back from the first trip, I was very, very sick. So sick that he had to send 2 doctors home to treat me. And we had opening. Yeah. He said, totally you are not going. I had to convince him to go for the same. I told him the same thing. We were in Umrah and they were supposed to go to Iran. I went to his room at night after everybody, because he had a suite, so we used to sit there. So when everybody I went to him, I knocked his door. I said, Mohammed, I sit down, I will talk to you. He said, Mohammed, let me go. I've left Aftab in charge. Look at his messages. He's begging me to come. Mohammed, if one person dies, I'll never forget myself. I'll not forgive myself. Let me go. What will happen finally? I'll sick, so what? If my days are over, khalas, time is gone. So, I never lost courage. And that's why Hassan was surprised looking at me the way I was acting on board the ship. Because, you make a decision, say, when you have faith in God, you say, okay, my destination is His hand. And my father is buried there. He passed away in Mogadishu. I became an orphan at the age of 4. And then Dr. Maldina's father brought me up. So I told my wife when she wanted to come, look, why you want to reach the family? Who will be for them if something happens to us? She was adamant. Anyway, I'm glad she came.
Dear viewers, Sajjad uncle has not only been instrumental in the Somalia evacuation. We will come to this, inshallah, in another session whereby he will take us through what happened in his Yemen evacuation. But Sajjad uncle, for now, you talked about Hassan Jafar, and then you talked about a committee. Can you tell us exactly who was part of that rescue committee that was?
There was Sultan Nur Muhammad, Brahmastromi, and some other people. The main committee was Sultan Nur Muhammad, Hassan Jafar, and Brahmastromi. Hassan Bhai Jafar, he was a ship agent. So communicating with him was easy on the radio. And he was my liaising person in Mombasa and communicating with Ashik all the time in Nairobi of what was required.
Okay, so just to make it clear, the communication channel was you, who was on the ship, and then you had Hassan Jafar in Mombasa and your brother Ashik, who played a very big role in Nairobi.
Yeah, he did every groundwork in Nairobi.
Okay. And Sajjad uncle, what was your biggest challenge or challenges you faced throughout this journey from going to Somalia and coming back?
Biggest challenge was a couple of my volunteers. The day we left, the next day, they started discouraging others. They told me, this guy is crazy. He's taking you to die. And to convince the people, look, whatever is written will happen. You have volunteered. Forget what this guy is telling you. One of the main culprits was Mohsin Okara. But challenge was, I never. I trusted God, and I said, look, He has made me the messenger to go and rescue this. He will help me up through all the situation. For a moment, the only worrying part was when my 4 people were on shore. And on the radio you get funny noises and everything. That night, all night I didn't sleep. I didn't know whether they were alive, whether they were dead. That was the most worrying and challenging thing. People are on shore, I'm boarding people. What do I do about these people? Unfortunately, 4 o'clock they came. So, God had planned everything. I was only the Vasta, that's what I can say.
Did you ever, in the period of the journey, ever think of giving up?
No, never. At the end, when the captain told me 2 days fuel, I got worried. My only prayer was, and I told the girls, the women, they were doing Zarat Ashura, everything else, will pray. If people don't come 2 days, I don't want to go empty-handed to Mombasa. It will be a disaster. And you could not get fuel anywhere in Somalia. The captain would have not agreed to stay more than 2 days. He told me, Sajjad, when my fuel finishes, I have enough fuel to go back, I'll turn the ship back. That was the only challenge I faced. And fortunately, that night, I was trying them on radio every day. That night they came on radio. So look at the way gone flood.
When you were leaving from Mombasa going to Mogadishu, did you know how bad the situation in Somalia was, or was it just that because
No, I knew.
you knew exactly?
I knew that the next people they will be attacked is our people in the mosque. And I knew, because the news, I was getting continuous news, I knew they were raping Arab girls.
So, Sajjad, is it safe to say that had we been 1 or 2 days late, it would have been big trouble for our community?
No. No, because I took 10 days before I got them.
So
the only thing was they had no food. They were staying on banana. So the situation was disaster, and you never know when they would attack the mosque. Fortunately, I reached at the right time, and I communicated with the rebel at the right time, so I was able to save our mosque being entered. They all knew that the Asians are here, but they were trying to go with the Arabs and all that. We were the last people they were going to go.
And when you were walking to, there was a time when I think when you came with the flight and then you went to meet the Prime Minister in
Yeah.
Somalia. Were you worried about your own security and safety?
To be frank, I was never worried. I don't know, I've been born that way. I never worry about my security wherever I go. You know, I have complete trust in God. You know one thing? Today I'm sitting here, tomorrow I'm gone. This is life. If you start thinking that, then you'll not be able to do anything for the community.
Dear viewers, I mentioned courageous, I mentioned brave, I mentioned fearless, but there's one thing that I forgot to mention is inspiring. Indeed, Sajjad Uncle has been an inspiring personality, not only for the community, but especially for us as youth when it comes to undertaking such large tasks like that. Sajjad Uncle, I'll give one question that I would always want to ask you is, how important or what was the role of the women that you took as volunteers in the ship?
Oh, very much. Dua. These ladies every day would sit down after Maghrib and recite Ziyat Ashura, all the duas. How many Jewish tasbihs were taken? I don't know how many times. They were our instrumental duas. We men were responsible for doing things. They were doing. And for the food, thank God to them. All the food, you know, forget all the food we sent. Because the first boat came, we kept on sending food. I knew they'd eat the food. Every boat had to send food. By the time they came on board, there was no food. So we had to make more food. And they ate. I have not seen people eat like that. You know, let me tell you one thing. If you were there, the plight of people, the young children coming, naked, without barotas. Everybody, the way when they were sitting and gulping food, you could not see. You know, it was such a sad sight, seeing people coming on board. I don't know what would have happened if you would have not gone to these people.
And did people come with, they only came with their passports, or people came with whatever they had in their hands and they just came to us? And
Passports were issued in Mombasa, from the Pakistan embassy.
So young and old,
Everyone just came. And you know, at one time I think we had to throw some luggage out. Because the ship's stability, we emptied all water, kept enough for the people, and the ship's stability was very bad.
Dear viewers, just to let you know, as I mentioned earlier, Somalia is in the east coast, and Sajjad Uncle mentioned this earlier, the waters there
Oh my God.
are not friendly waters at all. So you can just imagine how, with already having 3 times more than what the ship could take in terms of people, we now had to worry about the waters, and they had to make all necessary arrangements. That included throwing luggage out, throwing water out, just to ensure that they can get there to Mombasa safely. So Sajjad Uncle, what were the biggest lessons that you learned from this journey, but also what do you think the community should take from this journey?
I'll tell you one thing. The problem with our community is, and I'm being very frank, I never, even you see in the meeting, I speak my mind. We always wake up at the last moment. Yamani woke up at the last moment. When the thing started, here, having warned them in Nairobi, I could have easily gone by plane and brought everybody without any problem. We are complacent. We are deciding on one person because his son is getting married in Mogadishu. We are complacent up to the moment when things get out of control, we want to do something. We never planned before. The community has to learn this lesson, especially our leaders. You have to start moving when the first thing starts. I don't know what's happening in Sudan. I don't know how much of our community is there. If it is there, we should start thinking now. But what I know, they are not in Khartoum, they are in Durban. So the problem is not there in Durban.
Indeed, I think, and I believe right now that the institutions and the community is taking a proactive approach. I believe there is also a plan to have an emergency evacuation, a strategic plan in place and the team in place so that, God forbid, if something does happen, we are quick to react to this. So, Uncle, I believe the Somali diaspora has now gone all over the world. We have people, as you mentioned, in the US, I think people in Canada, we have people in Dar es Salaam, in Mombasa, in UK. So do they still keep in touch with you? Do you meet them?
You know, the problem is, before I moved to Dubai, I used to go to UK a lot. And everybody would want me to go for lunch or dinner. If you don't have time, I go for 3-4 days, I come back. I told them, look, gentlemen, arrange one place, I'll come. I'm told some of them have my photos at their house. You know, children born after birth, I don't know about 10 of them Sajjad now. I got 3 or 4 marriages done at my house after I brought them from Somalia. They married in Mombasa. You know, some of the children I brought are doing very well in pharmacy. I know one of them is a partner in auditing firm. They are all doing well in UK, especially some of the Okera guys, they are doing well. Even the Muraj guys, all of the Muraj guys are in there.
Indeed, the ex-Mogadishu community members have flourished, alhamdulillah, wherever they've gone. I think we have seen successful businessmen in Dar es Salaam, in Mombasa, in Dubai as well, and now in the UK and Canada as well. So alhamdulillah, the community has now, from the 90s, which is over 30 years now, they've managed to establish themselves. So it shows that, alhamdulillah, our community is business and entrepreneurial mindset does exist in our community, and they are, alhamdulillah, flourishing very well. So, Uncle, we are now coming to an end to this interview. What advice would you give the youths when such tasks come up? I think it is not easy to leave your family aside. To leave
No. You see, you have to understand one thing. I took my wife with me. I left her 2 years later. Imagine my thinking at that time. The only thought I had when I told my wife, what will happen to our children? My father dies, the mother is there to look after me. My advice to youth is this. When there is a desperate situation in community, offer service. God will reward you for it, and He will protect you. If you are going on a mission to save people, I can guarantee you that God will protect you. He'll make sure you succeed in your mission and you come back. When you have to understand, when you volunteer for a mission, it's not you. How did I, when Mashraf told me the rich have come, the poor are left, at the spur of moment I said, I'll go, without even thinking for a minute. I didn't say, when I reach home, we were leaving airport, I said, we'll go. How? The thought came from somewhere, from it's okay, we'll go. So you have to understand that in life, whatever you do for pleasure of Allah, it helps. It's not only rescue mission or something, serving the community. Yes. You know, I'm in Mombasa, and I can tell you right now, we are looking for people to work. They are not available. You know the reason? I'll tell the reason. Our community. Our community discourages people to work for the community. I know one of the guys said, "Su karo kaam karo, garo khao." This is the position.
This is the mindset.
The problem is if you have to have a thick skin, you have to be able to take the shit, but know that you are serving for pleasure of Allah.
I agree. I think this advice to the youth and all of us, especially myself, is that serving the community is never easy. As Sajjad Uncle has said, rightfully so, you need thick skin for it. But this community has done so much for us. It is time that we give back to this community. Yes, it does require sacrifices, but as Sajjad Uncle rightfully said, Allah gives back and gives in plentiful. We've now come to the end of our interview. I'm sure Sajjad Uncle has a lot more to give us than what he has said. But today, we are so honored and delighted to have Sajjad Uncle with us. Sajjad Uncle, for his heroics, his bravery and courage, was awarded the Haydari Medal in the 90s by the chairman then, Alhaj Habib Bhai Mulji. And allow me to quote what the citation said. The citation read, and I quote, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhaj Sajjad Muhammad Ali Rashid, Mombasa. Salamun alaikum. When Somalia was rocked by a violent rebellion, when Mogadishu, the capital, was being torn apart for weeks by civil strifes and wholesale looting with the collapse of law and order, when the streets were strewn with bodies riddled with bullets, when diplomats of all nationalities were fleeing from Mogadishu for safety, when even the international voluntary charitable organizations were closing down their most needed services, when the international media flashed across the world almost daily the headlines of atrocities and killing, they remain pitifully and helplessly trapped of our community of about 1,000 persons made up of infants, children, women, the aged, the sick, and others who are dwindling food supplies to sustain the body and with dimming hope to sustain the spirit and mind. Each day passed brought them nearer and nearer to clear danger to their lives and honor. A constant thought of what may befall them today, tonight, was nerve-wracking, akin to an agony of impending death. It was in such an agonizing crisis that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspired you for a mission that was wrought with danger over a period of 1 week, but you undauntedly planned, undertook, led, and with the support of a group of similar fearless volunteers accomplished on 17th January 1991, a seaborne evacuation to the port of Mombasa of 800 members of our community and 250 of other communities. Such an operation in a crisis involving almost an entire community and attendant with such a valor and commitment is unprecedented in the global history of our community. The best rewards are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as our prayers and gratitude will always fall short compared to the magnitude of the mission. Therefore, amidst prayers, I, on behalf of the Federation in particular and on behalf of the community in general, bestow upon you the highest honor of the Haydari Medal. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with this humble gesture to you, Habib J. Mulji, Chairman, the Federation of Khoja Shia Ethnashi Jamaat of Africa, unquote. I think nothing can do justice to what you have done. But indeed, as Habib Bhai Marhum rightfully said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless you and inshallah grant you the rewards for what you have done. I'm sure the community appreciates and has constant prayers for you and for all the volunteers who gave their selflessness, dedication, courage and bravery. It is indeed Sajjad Bhai and all the volunteers on board this mission who made this successful journey, and today we have a flourishing community still undergoing, from those who lived in Mogadishu to now wherever they are in different parts of the world. Courage, as I rightfully said, bravery, but more so it was the prayers and the role of the women who also made sure that this journey and this mission was a successful one. I believe inshallah we've all learned one thing or the other, but nothing goes without saying that if Allah is with you and when He plans and others plan, surely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best of planners. It is indeed through His grace and mercy that this journey was a successful one. Some of the volunteers and some of those who are instrumental in this mission are no more with us. Let us remember them and all the marhumin with the Surah Al-Fatiha. With that, on behalf of the Africa Federation and the Africa Federation Archives team, I would like to thank Alhaj Sajjad Bhai Rashid for giving us his time and sharing with us those memories that may not have been easy to sort of recollect. And I'm sure those times that were undertaking at that moment are not the best to remember. But we thank him for his time and for sharing with us what each one of us is inspired with. Inshallah, we hope that the Almighty grants you a long and healthy life to continue inspiring and serving this community. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Auzubillahi minash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. સજ્જાદભાઈ રાશિદ, સલામુન અલૈકુમ.
વાલેકુમ સલામ.
આજે અમારા માટે ગ્રેટ ઓનર છે કે ફ્યુ વર્ડ્સથી હું તમને આપણા શબ્દોથી શણગારું. આપણે રિયુનિયન જ્યારે 2013માં આફ્રિકા ફેડરેશનની અંદર જોઈન થયા ત્યારે હું તમને ઓળખ્યો. અને જ્યારે આફ્રિકા ફેડરેશનની હર મિટિંગ, સુપ્રીમ કાઉન્સિલ, કોન્ફરન્સ, જ્યારે એમાં હું તમને જોતો તો અને જોઉં છું તો હું એટલું કહી શકું કે તમે ખરેખર આપણા એક કોમ પ્રેમી છો. કોમ પ્રેમી જ નહીં પણ તમે આપણા કોમના એક મદદગાર છો. હર મિટિંગમાં પહેલાં તો હર હંમેશા તમારી પ્રેઝન્સ હોય છે. અને જ્યારે યમનની ક્રાઇસિસ હતી ત્યારે એમાં બહુ તમારો મોટો હિસ્સો હતો, કારણ કે તમે એમાં મોટો હિસ્સો હતો. ને એ સિવાય ભલે મારો નાનો એક્સપિરિયન્સ છે પણ આજ આફ્રિકા ફેડરેશન ચેરમેન હું એમ કહું છું કે તમે આપણી કોમ્યુનિટીની એક લાઇટ છો, એક બત્તી છો. જ્યારે કાંઈક પણ આપણને જરૂરિયાત હોય છે, જ્યારે કાંઈક પણ એવા મરહલા મસલા આવે છે ત્યારે કોમ માટે તમે સ્ટેન્ડ અપ થાવ છો. તમારો ઇનપુટ, તમારો ગાઈડન્સ, તમારું ડિફેન્ડ કરવાની જે અંદાજ છે એ ખરેખર આફ્રિકા ફેડરેશનના ચેરમેન તરીકે કહું છું કે તમે એક ડિફેન્ડર છો આપણા કોમના. અને એ આજે મારી નજરમાં એક એડ વેલ્યુઝ છે. તો મારી દુઆ છે કે અલ્લાહ હંમેશા તમારો સાયો આપણી કોમ ઉપર બાકી રાખે, તમને તંદુરસ્ત રાખે, આવા જ મદદગાર રાખે, અમારી બાજુમાં રાખે. અને આવી જ જોશની સાથે તમે હંમેશા આપણી કોમને પુશ કરતા રહો. આ ખાસ મારી એક દિલી તમન્ના છે.
અમીનભાઈ, આજે વર્ષો થયા કોમ માટે મારો પ્રેમ છે. અને જ્યારે બી કોમને મારી જરૂર પડે છે, પડશે તો હું ઊભો રહીશ. આઈ વિલ ઓલવેઝ સ્ટેન્ડ બાય યુ, આઈ ઓલવેઝ સપોર્ટ યુ. થેન્ક યુ વેરી મચ.
તમને મુબારકી આપું છું.
થેન્ક યુ વેરી મચ.
For your heroic missions that you did for Somalia and Yemen. We congratulate you and we wish you all the best. Long life and healthy life.
Thank you very much.
Mubarak.
Mubarak.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Amin bhai, as a small memento, તમે પ્રેઝન્ટ કરશો?
Africa Federation, your selfless services and contribution will always be cherished by Africa Federation.
તમે આમ એક
માશાલ્લાહ, આશિક છે.
હા, તો આપણે તમારા મરહૂમ ભાઈ આશિક રાશિદના રૂના સવા પરથી એક સૂરે ફાતિહા.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Good memories. This was on my birthday. Thank you very much.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.
Allahumma salli ala. Let's recite Surah Fatiha for my brother Ashik. I miss him a lot. Thank you, Amir. Good memory for me.
MashaAllah.
I very much appreciate it. Thank you.
and we wish wish you all the best,
Thank,
long life and healthy life.
thank you much.
Mubarak.